BC is bracing for more stormy weather. Senior meteorologist Kristi Gordon joins us with an updated timeline on some rain and snow warnings. Kristi.
Thanks, Soph. Yeah, widespread warnings all across the region. I'll get into the minute details of these when I get back, but this is the overall timeline. For the south coast, we're expecting heavy rain this evening and overnight. Windy conditions as well, but there's no wind warnings in effect. There is a rainfall warning. We're anticipating 70 millimeters possible by the morning hours tomorrow. So avoid travel. We'll expect pooling water on the roads and reduced visibility. Meanwhile, north of Squamish as well as east of Hope, widespread snowfall, 30 centimeters possible by the morning hours along with windy conditions, and there'll be a little bit of a warm up this evening and overnight where it brings in the risk of freezing rain. Travel across these western sections will be far better tomorrow morning. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Kristi. All right, let's bring Kristi back in now for a look at this stormy weather that we're having. Kristi.
Well, Sophie, overall, it is not a good night for travel. Any of the mountain passes across southern BC. We've got a wide swath of warnings and watches going on. So there's a lot of detail here. But the key is that if you're traveling north of Squamish and east of Hope tonight, we're expecting significant snow along with windy conditions. And we have a risk of freezing rain. This system is actually bringing milder air as it pushes in. So we'll see the temperature warm overnight. And during that transition, it brings in the risk of freezing rain. But look at that widespread snow spreading right up into the central interior regions, the Columbia, the Kootenay area. Tomorrow morning will be far better for travel, so wait for tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, it will continue in the Columbia, Kootenay region during the day tomorrow. So here is a look at how much snowfall we're expecting. We're talking about 25 centimeters just through the overnight and another 5 possible through the morning hours before it shifts out. As I mentioned, it will linger longer in through those eastern sections. Here's the rainfall warning. It's heaviest rain for Vancouver Island will be across southern regions, and for Metro Vancouver, it will be across the North Shore, where we're talking about 70 millimeters of rain. And as I mentioned, reduced visibility because the rain is going to be very heavy at times this evening and overnight. So travel could be delayed, and we're expecting pooling water on the roads. But a much brighter day on the way for tomorrow. It may take a little while for that rain to shift out of the lower mainland, but we're anticipating by late morning, afternoon hours, a nice bright day before showers start to return into the mix on Thursday. And I want to point out the weekend because I know a lot of people will be traveling. You'll want to stay tuned for that over the next few days because that could mean snow for the mountain passes as well. Sophie, back to you.
All right, thanks, Kristi.
Senior meteorologist Kristi Gordon joins us with an updated timeline on what to expect and where. Kristi.
Thanks, Chris. So we are seeing right now heavy rain across the south coast, and that will continue this evening and overnight. We're talking about 70 millimeters of rain with a rainfall warning in effect. We do have windy conditions expected, 50 to 70 kilometers an hour, but no wind warnings. And this moisture is shifting into the interior and would take over the entire region overnight. We're talking about 30 centimeters of snow on the highways north of Squamish and east of Hope, along with windy conditions expected overnight, and even a risk of freezing rain because the temperatures are actually going to warm up overnight, and so there's the potential of a transition to freezing rain at one point. Tomorrow morning, though, the conditions will be far better for travel as that moisture shifts further inland, although it will continue in the Columbia Kootenay region during the day tomorrow. Back to you.
All right, we'll check in a little later. Thanks, Kristi. There's going to be a lot more snow on some of those mountains out there after tonight. Kristi's got the details now.
Yeah, not a time to be heading in the backcountry right now. So what we're looking at is a system that is really potent. It's bringing in a ton of moisture, but thankfully it's not going to last too long. So we've got all of these warnings in place for the south coast area, including Metro Vancouver, where we're talking about 50 to 70 millimeters of rain. The bulk of that across southern Vancouver Island and across the North Shore. But it's going to be heavy overnight and just through the early morning hours. It moves out fairly quickly tomorrow morning, but it could impact your commute to work. We're talking about pooling water on the roads, reduced visibility. So give yourself extra time if you're up really early. By 9 a.m., though, I anticipate it to ease. Meanwhile, across the interior regions, we're talking about substantial snowfall. So potentially 30 centimeters for the coast mountains. That's up towards Whistler, the Coquihalla, as well as up to 45 for the Columbia and the Kootenay region. Again, that timeline for these western sections will be that it will shift out by the morning hours. So much better travel tomorrow. Do not head out on the roads tonight. We're talking about heavy snow along with windy conditions, gusts ranging up to 50, 70 kilometers an hour with a risk of freezing rain overnight. And for those of you in the Columbia and Kootenay region, it's not going to ease off until the afternoon hours tomorrow, and we'll see much brighter skies sort of late in the day. So there's your forecast across the region. And this system is also bringing in milder air for southern BC. So we actually will see a warm up through the overnight period. And that's why we have the risk of freezing rain for those higher mountain passes. But for those of you in Kamloops and Kelowna, you'll see snowfall overnight and then rainfall during the day tomorrow. So that could cause a lot of pooling water across the region. Here's a look at the forecast for our region. Brighter skies tomorrow. There's a chance of a shower in the morning, but overall nice mix of sun and cloud. Chance of a shower on Thursday, drier Friday. And a key I want to point out here is Saturday, Sunday. A lot more moisture on the way. And I know a lot of people will be traveling Saturday, Sunday. So make sure you're aware. That means substantial snow for the mountain passes both Saturday, Sunday. All right, tonight, Central Windows weather window coming to you from Furry Creek, where Rose Murray captured this beautiful shot. This was just a couple of days ago when we actually had a little bit of blue sky there. Nice serene shot there looking out over the golf course.
I remember what blue sky looks like.
Yeah. And golfing.
Yeah, well,
it's been a while.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the movie that was shot there?
Furry Creek.
Remember?
Adam
Sandler.
Adam Sandler. What's that called? What's the movie called?
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore. There you go.
Okay.
That's the one.
All right. Thanks, Kristi.